Well, now was it difficult to get them to agree to be in this? I can think of any number of reasons why they would be, hesitant.
Um, well, a lot of them were my peers from the '80s comedy boom that spilled over into the 1990s.
Hmm.
So they were old friends, and I've done a couple movies that I've put them in as bit parts and whatnot. So there was a trust there. And then with Rich Scheidner, who is sort of he's the wrestler of comedy. He's the Mickey Rourke of the movie. He was a huge comedian in the '80s, and the story is in the documentary. He's through the course of it, he starts doing stand up again. So rather than follow like a young struggling comedian, I
Hmm.
followed a retired old comedian that got back into the game.
Well,
And
and
so,
and
my point to answer your question,
yeah.
Rich knew everybody. Rich knew Tim Allen. Rich knew Jeff Foxworthy. I worked with Jeff Foxworthy on the road. Uh, so between the two of us, we knew a lot of people, and I think they trusted us to make it funny.
Hmm.
I mean, Jerry Seinfeld once said, "When you dissect comedy, it often dies on the operating table." So there was a lot of fear. Well, hey, are you going to screw this up? Are you going to make this unfunny? And the response has been great. The comedians love the movie.
Now, Rich sort of narrates the film and then sort of stars in the film, and he also sort of bombs in it. Any regrets? Any regrets on either of your parts about that aspect of it?
He's not too happy about bombing in a movie that's now getting this festival buzz. He had no idea. What happened was he was helping me get some of the interviews, and he would conduct the interviews, and I would, film them. And after about 3 sessions of interviews, Rich was like itching to do it, and I signed him up for an open mic night.
Mm.
And right before he said, "I haven't done this in 13 years," and I said, "Well, here's the good news. If you go up there and kill tonight, it's going to be great for the documentary. And if you bomb, it's going to be really great for the documentary." So there's no real regret from my part. He's a little embarrassed sometimes, but I think by the end of the movie, the audience is on his side and he gets some big laughs.
Mm. It's a tough moment where you guys are with a guy who has something called Comic Evaluator Pro, I think it is, and he's demonstrating how this software works in evaluating the laughs that comedians get on their jokes. And he explains that he's actually got it very scientific. If you get like around a 10, you're an open mic comic, and if you get a 30 or more, you should be a headliner. And I'm thinking that there was some jokes. I think it was Jeff Foxworthy material that was like a 30 or 33, and then he played Rich Scheidner's material, and that was kind of hard to watch.
Um, Not less than an hour ago, because Rich is with me up here in Portland
Hmm.
to screen the film tonight. He just brought that up. He goes, you put that on there for the world to see, me getting open mic level scores. So that's that regret that you brought up. But Rich takes it all in stride. What's crazy is that a guy has software to evaluate an art form. Like,
Yeah.
could you take a number of brush strokes in a painting and somehow calculate the value of that art of that painting? The number
No.
of words in a book. I don't know, or how fast people turn the pages and give it a score. So, I mean, there is some merit to if you're bombing, you're bombing.
Hmm.
Uh, but then again, someone like Bill Cosby can tell a story that'll last 2 or 3 minutes of setup, and then he'll get a big laugh at the end, and you're totally engrossed in it. I wouldn't give him a low score because he wasn't getting laughs for the full minute. That makes
Right.
sense?
Yeah. Well, it's just it's tough. Now, I was startled to see a bit in the film from the Tampa Improv, our kind of our hometown big comedy club. But my sense was that the woman comedian, and I can't you'll remember, but I can't remember her
Yeah,
name,
Nikki Glazer.
Nikki Glazer, not terribly impressed with being in Tampa.
Well, You have to understand, I've been to Tampa. I've worked with Tommy Blaze, Tampa's local comic done well. How is Tommy Blaze, by the way?
I saw Tommy is like working on a comic strip online. I don't know what Tommy's doing these days. I profiled him 20, oh boy, more than 20 years ago and spent a lot of time with him. And I think he's hysterical, but I don't know what he's doing today.
He was quite handy with the ladies as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So your fair city of Tampa is gorgeous. It's got history. It's got just all kinds of flavor to it, and the nightlife at wherever the Tampa Improv is, it's in a center of all these bars and restaurants, and it was real fun. But the accommodations were, I think, where the Improv puts the comedians. It's on the corner of like Crack and Murder. I don't know if you know that intersection. So Nikki was not so impressed with that part of Tampa.
Yeah, I got that sense. And did she reach under the bed and find something that one of the male comedians had left behind?
We don't know if it was a male comedian, but Bob, you see, in
fair
every
enough.
sense, it's sort of a tradition in the apartment where they store the comedians. It's basically just a shelter in between shows. It's usually a cheap apartment on the wrong side of town, as it was in Tampa. And it's a tradition that you just leave your porn behind. So there's pornography under the mattress in all the bedrooms. It was neat for me because I was a comedian in the 80s and 90s, as I said. And now when I walked in, I was looking around, there was pornography on DVD. I think the movie was like, Booty and the Hoe Fish. That's CBS friendly. It's just a play on words, but that was the name of the DVD that was at Nikki's condo. She had not watched it. You pray for a hotel when you're a comic.
So listening to the Mr. Media radio interview with Jordan Brady, director of the documentary film I Am Comic. We'll be right back, and this is 15 seconds of Bill Schecht from I Am Comic. Stick around.
My stand-up career was a lot like my bar mitzvah. Very small house. Nobody understood what I was saying. There was nobody in the audience that could help me, and everybody made more money than I did.